everyone, my name is Lauren, and on Today with Cooking with TPACK, we are going to be creating a simple fruit salad. However, the not so simple part is we are only going to be using 3 kitchen tools for this task, and they are pretty unconventional. So the first tool that we're going to be using is this standard size dinner plate, and this is made out of porcelain. The second tool that we're going to be using is a dinner bowl. This is another pretty standard size, also porcelain. And last but not least, our last tool that we are allowed to use, a grater. And this has a rubber handle and it's got a metal part up top, which is great for slicing vegetables. It's also great for, I don't know how this is gonna work with it. I'm drawing a blank, but we're gonna find out together how this is gonna work for creating a fruit salad. And for our fruits that we're gonna be using, I have 3 options. We have some green seedless grapes, strawberries, and half of a watermelon. If you're confused, I am too, but let's get started. So my thought process as of right now is I'm going to start off with a watermelon and use the plate to hold the fruit so that way it's not sitting on top of my counter. But beyond that, we're just gonna have to figure it out together. So I've got the watermelon here, and I think I'm gonna get the biggest impact by taking the bowl and scooping out some watermelon. And then I can use the grater's edge to chop everything up into edible chunks. Let's see how that goes. So I've got my bowl here, and I'm going to okay, so I have to apply quite a bit of force for this, and I'm really hoping that I do not break the bowl. So I got about that much of watermelon, and I am just going to put it on the plate, and you'll figure all of that out later. I think I'm gonna try and go in for another scoop. We'll see if this works though, just because I have already a decent sized chunk out of the watermelon, but we'll see if this works again. I may be testing my luck. So I'm applying quite a bit of force in a downward angled motion to scoop up some of the watermelon. Now this watermelon just came out of the fridge, so I don't know if being cold helps with this process at all. Okay, so I add another decent sized chunk, and I'm gonna put it on the plate. I'm gonna set the bowl aside for a second, and I think we're done with our watermelon. Oh, I really wish I had a knife. So now I'm gonna take my grater, and I'm gonna try and chop up some of the watermelon into decent chunks. Okay, so using the flat edge of the metal part of the grater actually works pretty decently. You can, I'm not sure if you can see, I've got some of the chunks already started, and I'm gonna cut them in half. All right, there's one part. Cut it in half. Okay, so we've got a pretty decent start. We've got some watermelon chunks here. And then I'm going to put them in this bowl for keeping, because I do not think the bowl would be well suited for any of the other tools or any of the other fruit. Okay, so we've got our bowl that we're going to keep the fruit in for our fruit salad about halfway full right now. And I think that's a pretty decent size for containing the fruit, just because I'm not sure how much fruit salad you like to eat. I like to eat quite a bit, but to each their own, but I think a standard size dinner bowl is pretty good amount for any kind of fruit salad container. All right, let's go with the strawberries next. So with these strawberries, they do have the hull on top. So we're gonna have an added challenge of taking off that hull so that way it's edible because I do not want any salad with my fruit salad. So I'm gonna use the same method that I did for the watermelon, and I'm going to start chopping with the flat end of the grater to get the hull off. Ooh, so that went in a very clean slice. That honestly almost acts like a knife. And that's really impressive because I know this tool was not designed for cutting things like knives are or chopping things, but it can be used in different ways. And I think that's a lot, like a lot of things that we have to use in life. We have to be flexible and we have to kind of go with the flow and use different tools that we have to accommodate our needs, even though it may not be optimal. So now I am slicing up the strawberry, and I've got it into 3 parts. I don't think I can get any smaller than this for the end. Oh, that's slimy. Got a pretty decent sized amount there. And then this is the top. I'm gonna test my luck and do another one. So another strawberry, pretty small amount, about the size of my thumb. Not sure if you can see that. So it's about the size of my thumb, a little smaller. So let's see how this goes. So because I only have a certain amount of tools that I can use for this challenge, I'm really having to repurpose this grater, but it seems to be working out really well. I wish I did have a knife. I wish I didn't have to figure out what to do with the plate because I'm really not finding any other use for the plate besides just hanging out and collecting strawberry hulls at the moment. But I would rather have a cutting board, I would rather have a knife, I would rather just have like a big bowl and make a big batch that I can eat over time. But because of the limitations of this size, I can only make that much. And I think I'm gonna do 1 more strawberry. So, about the same size as the other 2. There we go. So, kind of stabbing it. Get some anger out with that. And it slices through pretty easily. I'm gonna, just for kicks and giggles, I'm gonna see what happens if I actually use the grater for its intended purpose and kind of slice this up a little bit. Okay, so this is not good for fruit salad purposes. As you can see, it made an excellent strawberry puree, but not what we're looking for fruit salad. So I'm just going to ditch this. We don't need that. So I'm left with 2 pieces. And now our last one is a grape. I'm gonna basically use the exact same method. I'm gonna grab a handful of the grapes. Because we're limited on the size of them, there's a handful of them. Just gonna start off with that. I'm going to line them up on my plate. And then I'm just gonna cut them in half, kind of like how you would for a toddler. And this is working pretty well. So I think the reason why we're doing this task is kind of to challenge our flexibility, because we have a certain amount of tools provided for us, just like we would in teaching. But it's all about how we use them. We can use them effectively and create this big masterpiece that's well suited for our students, but if we're not either well trained or we're provided inadequate tools, it's gonna turn out like a little bit of a mess. It's not horrible, but it's not the intended purpose. So this challenge is really testing my flexibility and testing what I can do with the tools that I'm given. But overall, this really does apply to teaching because I'm only given a certain amount of tools for curriculum, a certain amount of supplies offered, a certain amount, just limitations on everything that I can do, but I still have to create this masterpiece or this fruit salad to effectively teach my students. And I'm only given what I've got. So I have to be creative, I have to be flexible in order to create this masterpiece. But even if the tools aren't well suited, you gotta work with what you got. So, I think this is actually a pretty decent fruit salad. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, can't go wrong with watermelon. Honestly, everything's great. It's a typical fruit salad. It may not look pretty, but it does the job. All right, and that has been Cooking with TPACK.